Good evening, I'm the Gentleman and this is Gentleman's Pixel Club and welcome to Lode Runner. Lode Runner is the second video we're doing on the same game. Yesterday's was for the ZX Spectrum. Originally I was going to have both of these videos in the same video, effectively do side-by-side comparison, but due to my ability on the Spectrum game, due to my ability on the arcade machine here, it just didn't pan out and it didn't work out. So you've ended up with 2 for 1. So let's get to it. The format that I'm using for this is I'm going to use 2 credits on this game, see how far I can get effectively with, I suppose, 25 cents, 20p, depending on what country you're on, wherever this was released. The format is very similar to what you had for the ZX Spectrum, the same men chasing you, but obviously more colours here and the larger pixels, grabbing the gold. You've then got to take the gold off them if you clear the screen, and there is still no escape ladder that's appeared. You know, exactly the same as what we've seen before. The real difference I found was the difficulty on this. For some reason, this was so hard to play. You know, you're seeing here me doing okay, complete the first level without any particular loss of life, but I must have had 3-4 goes at this damn game before I could even do this, and then said, right, this is how I'm going to do the challenges. The original video that I captured, you would have looked at this and said, dear God, just put the controller down, you shouldn't be playing games. I'm not the best game player there is, but you know what, I like to think that I do have some abilities and a chance to do something. The original format, as I said, was going to be side by side. I wanted to compare how they coded the Spectrum game compared to how they coded the actual official arcade game. I had never played the official arcade game until yesterday, and this is a video recording that you're seeing of it. And again, as you see here, I'm not particularly good and I died, but I had hoped I would be a little bit better. I believe the arcade game has a lot less levels than the Spectrum. You'll see us get to level 2 in a moment, which I think was distinctly different to what we had when you look at its counterpart. There was 150 levels on the Spectrum, and you're not going to get the same here. Again, this is running on the MiSTer FPGA. For those of you who don't know, it's a hardware emulation with cycle accurate hardware and timings. Every chip has effectively been coded and recreated in hardware, so you are playing the best version of the arcade game that you'll ever get. Yes, it will look similar to MAME, but for those that are the purists, those that want instant, I suppose, reaction from the controls, have timings exactly the same in terms of gameplay, you know, you couldn't get a better value for your money. One example is I love a game called Rally X and New Rally X. I used to be very good at those back in the day in the arcades. Playing it on MAME, there was just something a little bit off. To explain what you saw was that the screen effectively juddered a little bit when you were doing the turns, and it wasn't as smooth as it could be. With the MiSTer FPGA, due to it there emulating the hardware, it will have recreated the hardware within the FPGA. You get none of that, and again, this is what you're seeing here. So let's just sit back a moment and look at my wonderful gameplay. So that's another level complete. When I was looking at the gameplay here, sitting back in and just watching the recording, I was waiting for myself to muck up. As I say, the ability was not great on this particular arcade machine that we had here, and I was expecting to screw up at some point later. One of the key things to do here is actually play on the screen and guess where the ladder's going to be. It's fairly obvious that there's 2 options here. You've got the ladder above where I was just standing, which is going to go all the way to the top, or potentially the ladder on the right hand side of the screen as well. So, you know, plan to collect the gold and give yourself easy access to one or the other of those. The holes, when you dig them on this, seem to close up a lot quicker than what they did on the ZX Spectrum. Obviously they're different machines, you can get different versions of this, but I found this a little bit more challenging as well, because I was used to the timings of the Spectrum game, and the one thing that did annoy me, and however silly it is the constant flashing ladder. They could have done away with that. It's there, you know it's there, you can see it goes to the top. At this point I was reasonably proud of myself. After that cutscene I thought, oh, I'm actually getting somewhere at the moment. I did not account for these enemies, although you're just being chased again by sprites and it doesn't really matter what they look like. They reminded me of spiders, robotic spiders. I don't like spiders at the best of times, and for somehow it just put me off my gameplay a little bit. The blocks I'm over there at the moment, you can dig holes, but you see the large solid ones along the bottom of the screen. Those blocks you cannot dig holes, so it makes strategy even a little more important than what you're doing here. So as I said, there's going to be 2 credits for this. I was going to allow myself to play 2 games here. So 1 more credit, and let's see how many more levels we can actually do. I love this game, the way that you fall, you can fall for miles and it absolutely won't kill you. I think another change I would like here to make it a little bit easier for, considering how damn hard the thing was when you collect gold, if it actually remembered how much gold you collect from the previous level, so you did not have to start again. Obviously I didn't see the later levels because I'm not going to get much further, as you can see by my brilliant abilities that I've got here, but I do suspect that some of the later levels are going to get really tricky. And by tricky, I'm imagining cabins with blocked dead ends, levels that seem almost impossible to get through, which is not going to be pixel perfect in terms of what you do, but also path perfect as well. So if you go the wrong way from the word go, you're going to be dead in the water. So as you watch back, I'm looking at that thinking, why was I waiting there? What was I even hoping to do? But I guess it sort of worked out. This is where the challenge comes in as well, because I've got 2 blocks left and just praying that those little bastards are not carrying any gold, because if they are, I've got a problem. So there was one that he dropped, and potentially at least another 4 on the screen. Hopefully just 2, but we'll see. Credit must go to the coders who are involved with MiSTer FPGA. They recreate these cores, they effectively create them from nothing. They create them from the physical boards that they have, and the amount of time and effort and energy that goes into this is absolutely incredible, and also the money on getting some of these resources as well. And you're absolutely not playing MAME or anything else like this. It may look like it, it may feel like it to those that don't know the difference, and there's not a snobbery in this in any shape or form. It's just a fact that there is a distinct difference here, where some people prefer the real accurate machine, and other people just want an emulation of it. Myself, before I played Rally X and really saw the differences, I did not care, it did not bother me. And then when I discovered the MiSTer FPGA, you know what, it's probably the best all-round console system that I've ever seen. It will play cores, and the core is effectively the system, the computer, the PC, the arcade machine from many generations, and it goes from pretty much nothing, the original ZX80 I think it is, and some devices even before then that I can't even remember what the names were, to probably the early 16-bit systems. So you have Atari ST, you've got the Amiga there. Presently it really bottoms out on the PlayStation 1. There is a PlayStation 1 core being developed for this, but that's not currently available at present. And I believe work has actually slowed on that as well. So I'm just watching myself here thinking, yeah, look at that, what can go wrong? And I end up in a trap, as you see here. You know, I've just got a gut feeling that this is not going to work out. There. All that hard work to clear that level, gone. So spoiler alert, I do actually finish this level, I believe, on this life, and we at least get to see the next level. I think that this would be in comparison to how far I got on the Spectrum game as well, but you know, again, that didn't last too long. I think when we look at the previous video there, I had 10 lives when I entered the level, the final level on the Spectrum game, and that was level 6 I think, and I managed to lose all of them on that. The levels have changed format, so some of the patterns that you see on this game here, you know, I hadn't seen so far on the Spectrum game. You know, they've done some things a little bit different, and again, they had so much more real estate they could be working with because the pixels were that much smaller on that version. So one more gold. This reminds me a little bit of Burger Time, but a little bit more intense because they've got way too many ladders there for the enemies to cause you problems with. So the final level coming up, this is where it all ends, and I think I've just got a couple lives. So thank you for clicking on this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Feel free to do a subscribe and like. This is a new channel. Any subscription helps, and you know, I do a like for like, so if I see somebody has subbed to the channel, I will sub to their channel as well. And don't think it's just a case of subbing for the hell of it. I will take a look at the videos that you've got. We must have some common ground for people to sub to this channel, which is absolutely brilliant, and thank you for each and every one of you that does. And if you've subbed and you produce videos yourself, at least some interest we've got the same, so I'll certainly be taking a look and leaving my subscription against your channel. So thank you for watching, stay safe, and see you on the next video.